In the coastal city of Theros, famed for its vineyards and marble colonnades, lived an archer named Nicanor. He was not a soldier nor a hunter by trade. His arrows flew for sport, for art, and sometimes for silence. Each morning, before the sun crested the hills, Nicanor stood alone in the olive groves, bow in hand, arrow resting lightly on the string. He was known for never missing. Children whispered tales about him, that he could split a fig in the dark, that he once shot a coin from mid-air. When asked for his secret, Nicanor simply said, "I aim only at what I can hit." To some this sounded arrogant, to others foolish. But Nicanor was neither boastful nor careless. He lived a quiet life in a stone cottage with a blind dog named Lycos, a garden of herbs and a shelf lined with scrolls, Epictetus, Clenthes and the letters of Seneca. Then came the accident. One spring morning, as Nicanor practiced in the grove, a rider burst through the trees, a young man fleeing bandits, bloodied and panicked. The rider spooked Lycos, who bolted into Nicanor's path just as the arrow flew. The dog fell. Nicanor dropped his bow. He ran to Lycos, scooped him into his arms. The dog whimpered once and went still. The arrow meant for the target had taken the only creature in the world that still greeted him with joy. The rider was long gone. Neighbours came when they heard the howls, not from the dog, but from Nicanor. He buried Lycos beneath the olive tree they had sat under for years. He did not shoot the next morning, nor the next week. His bow gathered dust, his garden dried. One morning, an old friend named Damaris came to visit. "You haven't left the cottage," she said. "No need," Nicanor replied. "Everything worth having is buried outside." Damaris stood quietly. "Would he have wanted you to stop living?" Nicanor closed his eyes. "I should never have loosed the arrow." "You didn't mean to harm him." "But I did." Damaris sat beside him. "I read something yesterday. You may not control the outcome, but you control the intention. If your aim was just, do not mourn the miss beyond its moment." Nicanor said nothing. That night he reopened his scrolls. He read Seneca until the oil lamp sputtered. One line stayed with him. "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." He rose before dawn the next day, not to shoot but to walk the grove. There was peace in the wind, a hush in the branches. He sat beneath the olive tree and whispered to the earth, "I blamed myself for what the world did not owe me. I grieved what I had no right to own forever." A week later he returned to practice, but something had changed. He no longer cursed when he missed the mark. He smiled, gently. His posture was looser, his breathing slower. He no longer shot to prove anything. One day a young girl named Petra approached him. "Are you the man who never misses?" "I miss often," he said. "But they say—" "I used to think hitting the target meant success," he said, handing her the bow. "Now I know. Success is drawing the bow with peace, whether the arrow lands or not." Petra wrinkled her nose. "That doesn't make sense." "It will." She began practicing with him daily. She missed many times, cried once. Nicanor told her, "Missing is practice for life. The world will not always reward effort with results, but if you aim rightly, you've already won." Years passed. Petra became a master archer in her own right, but she never forgot Nicanor's grove, nor the calm with which he watched each arrow fly, as though he had released not just a shaft but a burden. When Nicanor grew old, his hands trembled. He could no longer shoot as he once did. On the morning of his last visit to the grove, he tied the bow across his back one final time. Petra, now a teacher herself, walked beside him. "Do you regret anything?" she asked. Nicanor looked at the olive tree under which Lycos was buried. "I regret not grieving sooner," he said, "and grieving longer than I needed to." He placed the bow on the ground. "Let the next hand take it up," he said. "Mine have done enough." He turned and walked into the sun. Stoic lesson. Nicanor's journey reflects one of the core teachings of Stoicism. We do not control the outcomes, only our efforts. In life, even our best intentions may result in pain. But to hold on to grief, guilt, or anger longer than necessary is to fight the universe itself. Stoicism teaches us to align with nature, to release what we do not own, including our loved ones, our talents, and even our past mistakes. As Epictetus said, "When something happens, the only thing in your power is your attitude toward it." Let go of the need to hit every target. What matters is the clarity of your aim and the peace you keep when you release.